Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of DABCC TV. I'm excited. Why am I excited? You know, you guys say, well, Doug, you're always excited. But I'm more excited this time because we are starting back up both DABCC and DABCC Radio. They sort of took a little bit of a hiatus for a while, but they are back. And I actually have a podcast that we'll be releasing sometime this week about that subject, about the hiatus and why we're back and how we're excited and what we're doing and all this neat stuff going on with the DABCC nowadays. So with no further ado, let's leave that one for a dedicated podcast and let's get into this DABCC TV video episode where we're extremely excited to have Jason Smith from Liquidware Labs on the show with us. Jason's been on the show many times in the past, so I was really excited to get him as the first video show back. And so Jason, thanks for taking the time to be with us today.
Glad to be back and to be one of your premier first back.
Yeah. You know, I picked these things, believe it or not. You know, I actually I quite like this. In the time I took off from both the DABCC TV and DABCC Radio, I quite missed it. And because I really love chatting with you guys. And there's a few, that, of course, that come on quite often to show us their wares, and you're one of them. So I'm excited to have you on the show. Thank you,
well,
Jason.
I think the community's missed you, too. Glad to have you back.
Oh, I thank you so much.
In full force, anyway.
I hope that's the case. So if you guys missed it, tell a friend. We're back, and we'll see episodes quite often. So and definitely tell them about this one, because we have something really neat today. Jason sort of previewed it for me, and I'm quite excited. That I kept telling him, oh, hold on, let's get this on tape, because it's so cool. So with no further ado, Jason, can you just give a brief a brief introduction about who you are, what you do at Liquidware, and then let's dive into this video.
Yep. So I've been with Liquidware just shortly after its inception. Liquidware Labs was formed by acquiring two other companies for our very well-rounded transformation solutions that ensure happy users. And that's a theme we're going to be using from VMworld forward, happy users, because we really do. We ensure user experience satisfaction through Stratosphere, and even prior to that with Stratosphere Fit on the front end with a proper assessment to whatever new desktop that your users are going to. And then with ProfileUnity, we ensure happy users through the management of those users and delivering things they need to make them productive in their environment. So I, at Liquidware Labs, am the director of our user virtualization solutions, which include ProfileUnity, and then the technologies that are showcased in those, including what I'd like to show you today, and that's our FlexApp technology, which we launched just a couple of months ago, but it laid the groundwork for where we're headed with this technology. And today I want to give you, Doug, a look at our user-installed application capabilities with FlexApp, but also a sneak peek of a few screenshots of what we're going to be showing live at VMworld and what's been nominated for VMworld Best New Technology for 2012.
Very cool. I'm excited about this FlexApp technology, because this is something people have tried to do in the past, but they've never really been successful at it, and or even released it for the most part. So you guys actually have this out, and of course it's getting better and better. So this is very neat technology for me, especially coming from the application deployment world that I come from. So I'm excited.
Well, I'll jump right in and give you a recap of sort of what ProfileUnity does and why we made FlexApp an integrated part of ProfileUnity. People have been asking us, where did you, how's FlexApp available, and why did you choose to make it available in ProfileUnity? Well, it really was the groundwork, ProfileUnity, of controlling the user and managing the user for any type of Windows desktop. So we had the management framework in place for a user-installed application delivery method for applications to enable users to empower them to have that ability in non-persistent VDI environments. And we're going to extend that out to any type of Windows desktop here in the next version. But it also laid the groundwork for the control of it, because this is a very powerful technology. You may or may not want to give every user the rights to install their own applications in that environment. And you want to securely make sure that you're able to elevate privileges, and we're actually adding that into the next version of FlexApp. Out of the gate, we had to make users an administrator, and that was only select users of this feature, but we're going to be adding elevated privilege management for installing applications, and we're doing that in a secure fashion. And then we're going to be doing a little bit later, what I'm going to give you a sneak peek of today after I show you FlexApp user installed applications is the department installed applications. Our virtual software deployment really is what we're doing, and we are really forging ahead. New territory, and it's a very innovative solution that we're coming to market with.
Cool. So you mentioned the admin rights required. Has that been changed, or is that coming in the upcoming version?
It'll be changed within the next 3 weeks. So we'll be shipping a version that does not require you to elevate users to administrative level. We securely do that with ProfileUnity now. With some other vendors in there have been doing privilege management, where we're getting into that area too. It's another integrated piece of ProfileUnity. So that same low price that you come to know and love us for, we're delivering more features in that without breaking them out into a product suite that would, for some other vendors be well over $100.
Nice, very nice.
So ProfileUnity we now do with user-installed applications. We already did robust persona management. That is, assigning a version 1 or version 2 profile to a user depending on where they've logged in. That goes well beyond just normal profile solutions. We have advanced migration of user-authored data. Actually, if you run us in a legacy environment, we can pull off the most important data, that's user-authored data, such as my documents and things that the users have saved to the desktop or any shell folder. We can migrate that up to the network, the local cloud, or even to an external cloud to have it ready, and we remap it back up to that user experience. So we're getting them ready for their next desktop experience, whether it's physical or virtual, and we remap that to where it's seamless to the user when they get to their new desktop. And with user and department admin installed applications, now we're delivering applications. So profile, user-authored data, configurations we already did, and now user and admin installed applications, or virtual software deployment, really. And then we've got a bunch of additional features and benefits that are specific to VDI environments, but we are perfect for leveraging any of these same benefits in a physical environment as well.
Sounds good.
So why do people buy us? Just real quick, top 10 reasons that they buy us is version 1 to version 2 profile headaches. You may want to coexist. Migration of user-authored data to replace, long-plagued roaming profiles or other basic profile solutions. Microsoft's UEV new solution is really cool. Still has some shortcomings between version 1 and version 2, and there's no granular provision of how to manage that profile. To lower the overall cost of delivering VDI, so you can do non-persistent desktops and really minimize your license costs. To make more users compatible with VDI, now user-installed applications and a very powerful, robust persona that's context-aware, which is the next one. It's built-in disaster recovery, because once you have the user persona, user data, and you have applications that are able to be pulled into a user session, layer back in the golden image and you have full disaster recovery, really. So these are why people are buying us. Ongoing management of the desktop is always a good one and solid one why people buy us. Map drives and printers and do it by context-aware settings. And then number 10, it's user-installed applications, and soon it will be department-installed applications or virtual software deployment that we're providing in that for physical as well as virtual desktops. So that's just a quick why would you buy ProfileUnity, and why is it better than anything else out there, the basic solutions for roaming profiles or even basic user environment management solutions.
Sounds good.
We pull together heterogeneous desktops like the one you see here. This looks like a mess. Well, by the way, when we get into enterprise level engagements, their desktops look like a mess too. Delivery methods are varied. Windows operating systems, and now we're seeing some Windows 8 in there as well. They've got a variety of way of delivering applications, so they need application data settings that are scattered in different areas of the profile. We pull that together like we always have with version 1 and version 2 profiles, one seamless portable profile. But we also go beyond that for full user environment management, delivering granular things like map drives and printers and being able to modify exact settings within Internet Explorer and Microsoft Office, and to do all of these things that you see on both sides, these both columns, with context-aware filters. So you apply and can do printer management, you can do application assignment depending on where a user's logged in or the type of desktop that they've logged into. And what I'm really excited to tell you about is the FlexApp UIA and DIA technology that the DIA is coming, UIA has already been delivered. And that's another way to dynamically deliver an application. It's not the end all or be all for application delivery, but it is a very dynamic way to do it, to have users now have applications follow them no matter where they are and no matter where they've logged on to the Windows Enterprise, just like they'd have their persona. It's not application virtualization, by the way, and I'll get into that in a minute. It's really virtualizing where the application is installed and reassigning it at the next login. So we'll talk about that in a second. I'm really excited to get to the demo portion of today's call.
Absolutely.
So our architecture is a little broader than this, but we're going to talk about FlexApp and kind of the architecture that we've leveraged for it. Now, ProfileUnity can run without any additional servers being spun up in the environment, and that's almost unbelievable to enterprises when they hear that. But they also love it because they say, wait a minute, I can run this on what I've already got today for my Windows infrastructure. We're like, absolutely. You know, all you need is the things already in place. Secure user storage out on the network. Their U drive or H drive usually suffices out there for where we want to store the profile, user authored data, and now user installed applications, as you see in this diagram. And then also we run, our small agent runs from a shared place on the network, secure, authenticated, and replicated area. Everyone's got one. You can put it anywhere, but we specify out the NetLog file share, and that keeps you scalable from day one. But ProfileUnity adds the ability to make portable applications for the end user, so they can also install them themselves. And now what I'm going to give you a sneak peek of is our DIA, Department Installed Applications, our virtual software deployment. We're going to leverage a VHD for UIA applications, and we're going to put that VHD out there in the user's network storage area. And we'll automatically provision that VHD for that user, and we'll size it accordingly. You know, it won't get any bigger than it needs to be, so you can have your space savings there. It makes for a great way to manage applications. So when an application is installed by a user, they install it native. There's no little shell application as you've seen on the market from other vendors or anything. They simply download it from any type of source, and they start to install it in Windows, just like they would a traditional application. We have a little service that runs, FlexApp runs, and it says, you know, Jason's trying to install something, so it starts to kick in our FlexApp technology. In a nutshell, what it does is instead of locating the binaries on the local PC or virtual desktop session, it saves them to the VHD. It also keeps track of every binary that's needed for the OS for that application to run. And at the next login, we'll make portable the shortcuts, or we call them symbolic links. Really, it's like a dynamic shortcut. And we're going to insert those back into the next operating system session for that user. Not the binaries themselves, but these symbolic links. And that takes seconds to insert those back in for even dozens of applications. It's really cool technology. It's one we were able to fully leverage because we come to this market and tackling this problem of making applications portable at a great time when symbolic link technology is fully accepted by Microsoft and has been since Windows 7 and later. And that's exactly what we support with FlexApp, is Windows 7 and later environments. For the profile itself and other things, we still support any popular Windows operating system going back to XP in 2000. But for FlexApp, this feature is for our Windows 7 and forward environments, and you can apply it only to certain desktops if you wish.
Sounds good.
So to recap, the technology initially is designed for virtual software and virtual desktop environments, such as non-persistent desktop environments. But we're going, by the end of the year, we plan to support any desktop environment that's persistent and physical desktop environments in their native format. And that's going to open up a whole new realm of customers for us. And it's also going to open up a whole new way of thinking when we get to administrative installed applications or virtual software deployment. Think of an administrator being able to push out an application. And I'm not talking about application virtualization. Push out an application into the native place where Windows expects it to be through this technology. And it's really going to be a game changer. The FlexApp features are for Windows 7 and later, for non-persistent desktops, as I mentioned, and we're going to support any type later. Users need no special training. It's really native to the way that they install this, as you'll see in a moment, and also the way they use this technology. I want to give you a demonstration of it. If you're good to go, Doug, and you're still equally as excited as I am.
I am, and you mentioned that this could be a. Well, I have a little bit of technical problem. Hold on a second. There we go. That this is a game changer, and I definitely agree with that. Like I mentioned in the intro to this, that I'm quite excited about because many people have tried this, and at the end of the day, users have desires, they have rights, and they have requirements, right? And that is they need to install apps, but yet at the same time we need to manage these apps. So I'm really excited to see what you guys have done with this. You've already briefed me a few months ago on this. Unfortunately, we did a great video, everybody out there, for you listening, but my audio came across and Jason's didn't, so it never saw the light of day. But so I'm excited for you to dive into this deeper. I'll quit rambling and I'll ask my questions as you show us. But
all right, good. To show this off today, I've got VMware Workstation running here, and this could represent any virtual desktop. Could be a Citrix Zen desktop, VMware View. It could be any type of desktop that can be reset. Like I said, we're going to extend this to physical desktops too shortly. But I've got a user assigned and has the rights to install their own application. Remember I said we made this an integrated part of ProfileUnity because you can pick and deem who gets rights to this technology, tightly control it. Everything we're doing here is very secure, even to the fact that we're going to have the privilege management built into the next version. So this user has a couple of additional things assigned that I've assigned him with ProfileUnity. When I turned on FlexApp for this user, he was automatically provisioned a VHD that was mapped as his B drive. And when we start to go to admin installed applications, we're not going to map these individually, but for user installed applications, this is where their applications will actually save to. Now I'm showing you a bit about how the sausage is made before we get going here. I've already downloaded some applications. An unbelievable 97% or so of applications will work with this technology. And Doug, do you see one that you want me to try here, that any of the applications that I've loaded up?
Well, I can imagine each one of those works. So, you said 97% work.
I can even go out to the internet if you
No,
really
I believe you. I believe you. But what are the 3% that don't work? So what type of applications just will not work on this?
They are very few and spaced far out between. And those that engage the OS right before boot time are not good candidates for us. They're not really good candidates for application virtualization either. I'm talking about virus checking software that does it at the root level. So those aren't great things. We can only do it. We can only insert these after Windows starts.
Sure.
So anything that needs to engage with the OS very, very early on, which that includes most virus detection software, and everything else we have proven really great compatibility for. So
basically, I mean, those aren't the type of apps that users would be installing. Administrators, the company, are setting up those type of applications, correct?
Right.
Cool.
So they're very few and far between what is not supported. Application virtualization gets up there in the 69, 75% level of what it can support, and we're well beyond that. Now, application virtualization, I want to point out, we still see that as a viable application delivery method going forward. You can use ThinApp or you can use AppV to provide some limited isolation, so you can make applications more compatible between more operating systems and things like that. You may want to package them up into a single executable to make them more portable. So those are good candidates for that. But this, if you want an application to work, it's highly likely that we're going to have it running with FlexApp, being able to make it portable. That's because the fundamental difference, we're virtualizing where the application is installed. We're not really virtualizing and isolating the entire package.
Sounds good. So let's do, iTunes.
I just know you're a fanboy of Apple too, right?
Yeah, believe it or not, I am. But, well, I don't know about if I am. But I buy all their crap. But I'm starting to move away from iTunes. I bought a record player, so I'm enjoying my my vinyl time each evening.
It's from you lately on that.
Yeah, it sounds so beautiful.
So I purposely chose iTunes. A lot of these are real easy one-offs, but look how big that package is. Almost 74 megabytes. So this is going to install relatively quick into this environment. And what you'll see is that or what you may or may not know, is that iTunes kicks off like something like 10 different executable packages when it installs. You've got the Bonjour service to do synchronization and several others that need to communicate and also need to communicate with drivers in the environment, right? And this is not, I purposely chose this one again, this is not a good candidate for application virtualization because of where it needs to engage with the operating system. And with this, you'll see we have no problems installing this or FlexApping this package. And this is running relatively really quickly because I'm demoing this on an SSD. You know, your mileage may vary, your own environment, but we're running this really quickly today, and then you'll see that it'll be left in the environment. So what you may or may not have seen is that FlexApp popped up down here in the corner. It's the only thing that the user would see that says that it's saving off the application to that VHD. It's also keeping track of where the symbolic links need to be placed at the next user login by ProfileUnity.
And what does it take to set up FlexApp itself? So this machine was already pre-installed with FlexApp, I take it.
Yep. Well, while this installs, I can take a look and show you that real quick. I've got my domain controller over here, which doesn't have to be the place that you run ProfileUnity, but in this case it is. Let me show you really what it takes to install. It is drop dead simple. So you just need to turn it on in the configuration. And you'll see it's turned on in this configuration. As I pop this up, FlexApp is a module here. In our Quick Start wizard, you're actually given the option to turn it on right there at the beginning. But you'll see this window right here exactly what happens and how the magic happens. I've applied it to a certain group of users. In this case, the only user I wanted it applied to in my demo environment. It's going to create a VHD image, and where's it going to create it? You get to assign all that. Where's it going to save it into what root? So you get to put that path there, and that is the path that already exists, and that's where we provision out the VHD ourselves. So it's silent. So you turn this on and say okay, and you save your configuration back to the live ProfileUnity environment, and it's realized FlexApp attributes will be realized the next time the user logs on. So the other thing that we can do is we can support persistent disk technology from VMware, and we've been asked to do that. It increases the performance in VMware environments. So that's the other option if you don't want to do the VHD.
Sounds good. And then ProfileUnity itself, we've talked about that. We have videos about it too, but that's really simple to install. That just takes minutes, right?
Yeah, you download our executable on our website. It's about 70 megabytes in size, and you bring it down to your environment, and then you run it from any standalone Windows machine, and you follow the Quick Start wizard that's involved. For a POC, you can have ProfileUnity up and running if you're an experienced administrator in like 45 minutes to an hour. And that is drop dead simple compared to any competitor in the market that would require you to put in additional database environments or Microsoft Windows web server environments. We don't require any of that. So again, we leverage exactly what you have in place.
Sounds good.
To run. So we've got iTunes in here just for kicks. Let's look under here and you'll see that it's nested in here exactly where it would be otherwise. It looks native to the user. It's launched and it's fully up. There was no errors, no bonjour, can't start or anything like that. We're fully up and running. So we'll do one more and a real quick one at that, and see FlexApp popped up here. I'm going to put FileZilla in the environment just because I know it's really quick to install because it's a small package.
It's a great app too.
We've done a large one. We're now going to do a small one.
Who doesn't need an FTP client?
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah, exactly.
Get that. It's already up and running. So it wants me to update because it knows that there's even a newer package out there.
No, that's a question. That's actually a good question. So let's say an application like FileZilla, prompts you to upgrade. Can the users then say, yeah, I just want to update, and then FlexApp will take care of all the updates, all the reposition of files and what have you?
Yep. So Most applications in this current early version could be uninstalled simply, but you could also delete it from the VHD itself. There's a package out there. We're going to have rollbacks in this next version, so yes, it will take care of itself seamlessly to be able to roll back the application and update it. So even that step will be seamless to the end user.
Perfect. So in other words, the version that'll be out in 3 weeks approximately, a user installs FileZilla, it prompts them to say, hey, here's a new version. They click, yeah, I want that, because that's what the user's going to do, and they're good to go. FlexApp
Yes.
takes care of everything, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I care about.
Absolutely.
Easy.
So what I want to do right here is show you how powerful this could be in a non-persistent VDI environment, how everything could be wiped out, the underlying golden image, but we'll bring the application back in. You'll note ProfileUnity runs to save any persona off. We've really already tracked the application itself with the FlexApp service. And then once the user logs off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this image back to net zero and wipe out anything out of that, and that represents a non-persistent desktop, really. So if I click on my workstation monitor here, I can go back to last week's image that I created here. And I'll go to that real quick, and that's going to restore my base image, same as going through a non-persistent VDI environment. Again, I'm running an SSD, so your mileage is going to vary on this sort of thing. But okay, and now I've reset that image back to last week. I'm going to log on as the same user. When we log on, you'll see that Windows runs its logon thing, and then ProfileUnity is going to restore not only the persona now, the configuration of this user, but also it's going to bring in the user installed applications to what basically is a golden image of the desktop.
Sweet.
So you got the Windows thing running. We've already run. Now look at the desktop real quick. You'll notice there's no shortcut there. And as we bring back in the symbolic links within the first few seconds of user time here, the user will realize the applications are on their machine. There's iTunes.
Cool.
So we've got iTunes shortcut there. You've got FileZilla here. You've also got iTunes under there as well. Let's just open that up real quick. And we brought in these two applications into a pristine, non-persistent virtual desktop environment. Really, it's no one else has really done this at this level. Not with this amount of management control. We've got a couple of people out there that have done these as one-off applications, but they haven't really enabled you to really manage this very powerful technology, assign it to a group of users, or also manage where the storage is going to occur. And interestingly enough, some of these vendors out there only support it on persistent desktop environments. What magic is that, and what's the use case in that? We're doing this on a non-persistent desktop, a machine that's destroyed. And so I can think of one other vendor that's delivered something similar to this as a one-off package with no management or control. And they really, non-persistent desktop environments, which is the biggest use case, really breaks the technology. So what we're doing here is really cool, and it works. We've already got customers that have purchased and are out there using this on an enterprise scale, and we've got many more waiting for the user-installed application delivery method.
Very cool.
I want to show you really that sneak peek.
I was about ready to start asking some questions about some of the things you told me that were coming, so this is good. Let's jump back to PowerPoint and tell us about the future.
So that's my demo slide. So I did give you a brief look into this screen. So this is how it gets turned on. There's more features even in that than today, as I showed you. That's how user-installed applications get turned on. And this is our powerful filter management, which is really located under another tab here that's popped up. And in this case, we've written a filter to only apply, like I said, we provided this with management framework to a group called power users in Active Directory. So the condition here is a group that already exists. You put in power users here. You check off the types of desktop that you want to apply. Remember I said FlexApp, this feature is for Windows 7 and later. So this little rule set right here applied FlexApp to exactly who we wanted to have this and no one else. So it's not letting the genie out of the bottle. It's very controlled. And it also lets you onboard really many users that weren't really good candidates for VDI before. It instantly makes them great candidates for VDI because it lets power users and knowledge workers really have full control of their desktop.
That's cool. And that's why I've always been excited about this type of technology, because I'm a realist. I've become a realist over the years. And, I used to live pie in the sky. Oh, we can do all this stuff centrally. And, oh, they don't need that. Well, they do. And this gives them that, continues that next level of giving them more flexibility, right?
Right.
I guess that's why you call it FlexApp.
Absolutely. We architected FlexApp and delivered UIA first because it was a little easier than where we were going with the technology, which was virtual software deployment and department installed applications. Really, I'm not a big fan of the department installed application term because we go so far beyond that, it is not even funny. There's many vendors out there that do image management that give you kind of a department installed layer, and that's nice, but do they give you any control or management of that environment? They're just managing buckets of data. We're with this technology, we're managing and really doing virtual software deployment here for an individual user, a group, the entire enterprise, where you're actually able to push these packages out without installing them on the underlying image. And when we get to physical desktop support planned again at the end of this year, the implications of this technology are absolutely mind-boggling because it's going to be a big deal to physical environments as well. And we've been asked and beckoned for this. Imagine you've got traditional software deployment vendors out there that have had a steadfast business for years, and they're not going to go away anytime soon. But we see this as being an absolutely viable option to doing virtual software deployment. And I'm talking about, and I'll lump them all together in no particular order, Landesk, Altiris, and even Microsoft themselves, IBM, they all have solutions that run package updates of software in off-hour times, and you have to wait for those to install. They're actually installed into the OS. You don't have any quick rollbacks for those packages, and it's really good to have those in place, but if you could do away with that and do virtual software deployment, where you're just inserting these symbolic links at next logon, if you had some kind of conflict, you roll back the package, you have the user log back on, and boom, the issue or the application conflict is fixed. So we see this as really a game changer, and we're going to showcase this at VMworld in just a few weeks, the virtual software deployment or department installed apps out to a granular, unlimited way of thinking of users, and we plan to ship it by year's end. This gives you the sneak peek of what the FlexApp package editor looks like. No one really publicly has seen this yet, so debuted here, ta-da, on DABCC for the first time.
Ta-da!
This is sort of the new UI. There's going to be a package installer for admins or people you've nominated to be able to package up FlexApp applications, and we'll leverage VHD technology to do this again. But we're not going to have to map a one-to-one for each package. You can lump similar packages together, so maybe all of Office, maybe all your browser toolbars and things of that nature into another VHD, so you can logically put them in separate VHDs, and then you can assign the packages through ProfileUnity through our granular context-aware groups. We didn't deliver this just one-off. This is going to be a full, right-out-of-the-box, enterprise-level compatible solution that has management of the solution put right in that case, it's really an industry first.
That is very cool. Now, when you have applications in different VHDs, do they still communicate with each other? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good question. And for that, I will go back to looking at really the Windows 7 machine and explain the technology just a little further. You remember I said, well, you've got the VHD out here. It's going to be a similar technology for end users. And the reason why I did two applications is because we would have two application stores out here on our VHD. So under app root, you've got iTunes here and you've got FileZilla. You'll remember those are the two we did in the demo today. The OS itself, Doug, to answer your question, The OS itself is doing all the execution and talking to these packages. We, using those symbolic link technology, allow all those applications to natively talk to each other. So if iTunes really needed to talk to FileZilla, which it doesn't, they could do so, even in being in separate packages and on separate VHDs.
Very
as long
cool.
as the OS symbolic links can reach those packages, which it can right at logon, you've got full compatibility in there. So again,
Very
not
cool.
application isolation or virtualization. We are just virtualizing where the actual binaries get saved off to.
Oh, that's great. That is great.
Great. So we've got, you can go out there and download this today. If you're watching this in September, you may even be able to try out our admin installed applications. But FlexApp user installed applications are shipping today. And for that, you can visit our website and download it at any time at www.liquidwarelabs.com. And it's, like I said, it's like a 70 megabyte file, so you can take a look at that and download it and have it off and running in really just a matter of minutes.
That's excellent. That is really excellent. You guys have come a long ways. I remember chatting with you about this technology, gosh, years ago. Well, first ProfileUnity, and then now the FlexApp stuff. And wow, this is cool stuff, Jason. I'm really I'm excited about this type of technology, and definitely excited what you guys are doing with it. So it's continuing the evolution of giving us the ability to build a machine, build an image, so to speak, an experience, tear it down, build it back up, move it around, the whole 9 yards. And this allows the power to not just be on the admin side, the company side, but also on the user side. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Nobody comes to work and says, gee, I'm excited about using a Cisco router. They come to work and say, gosh, darn it, I got to do this job, and, I need Excel or whatever. I got to work on my spreadsheet today.
Yeah.
So
I'm really, as you can tell, excited to tell you about it, and even more excited about what the future holds here, because there's a lot of companies out there that want all the benefits of VDI, sometimes without going that whole route.
Yeah.
And while that may be kind of lately a tried and true route in recent 2 years of adoption, finally, but there's this technology right here. It opens up a whole new world and gives you some of those VDI benefits for your physical desktops as well, if you start to think about that. And look to us for more announcements about that direction towards the end of the year. So we'd be happy to revisit another WebEx to share with you. So where we and our partners are headed with that. Well,
you can have a little bit of everything with this too. So I could have my physical desktop that's at my office, or let's say my laptop, but also maybe I have a VDI session for a line of business app, or for whatever reason, right? Or server-based computing, some Citrix Zen app servers, or maybe I have Zen client. I have tons of stuff, right? But with this solution, because it's a profile, experience management solution on top of it, it allows me to have that one experience across all these different, endpoints that I'm using, that I'm logging into, right?
Right. It makes the OS irrelevant to a degree. If you've got a working supported OS, you are good to go.
Yeah. So if you have VDI today, or if you have traditional desktop today, which we all do, or almost every one of us, right? Okay, great. Let's put this in. Then, we want to move to some VDI or try it out. Okay, great. Well, this just moves along with it. So very, very powerful stuff.
Good. I'm just glad to share it with you. Thanks for having me on today.
Hey, thank you so much, Jason. And on that note, let's go ahead and call this an episode. So my first episode back. Jason, thank you for being my guinea pig. I hope the quality sounds good. We'll find out in a little bit. So on that note, what do I say? Again, Jason, thank you so much for your time today. And everyone out there listening, thank you for listening to this DABCC Live, DABCC TV episode. And of course, visit www.dabcc.com for all the latest and greatest virtualization and cloud computing news and support, videos and podcasts and all that jazz. It's all up there. And of course, visit liquidwarelabs.com and check out not only their FlexApp solution and their ProfileUnity solution, but they also have an amazing assessment tool called Stratosphere. And I think you guys would really like that too. So check that out also. And you guys are in good hands with the folks over at Liquidware. And on that note, thank you all for joining the show. And we'll have another one next week, I hope. So on that note, thanks again, guys. Take care.